everybody, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time coming to my video, my name is Samdup, and if you like my video or if you want to hear more about it, please like and subscribe. Probably this is my first time ever asking people to subscribe and like, but this from now on I'm gonna request everybody to subscribe and like my video if you wanna watch more, because this year 2022 I decided to be more productive with my YouTube account, because I have my YouTube account since like almost 8 to 10 years ago, but I have never even paid that much attention to build and draw attention from the public. But from now on I really wanted to do that, because it's for me it's really fun, and at the same time it helps me to communicate with you all, communicate with the people who always wanted to know about what's going on in individuals' life. So yeah, and today I'm going to talk about my book. Well, I'm sure there are people who are thinking that, what book? So for those people who have no idea about my book, I'm going to give you an introduction about my book. And it's not new. It was published in 2016, so it's been more than like 5 years, 6 years. But it's always one of my very memorable achievement, and I always feel proud about myself because I made it. At the same time, I've always wanted to publish it. I always wanted to collect all my written into convert that into a book so that I can have it throughout my life. Okay, so let me show you two versions. So this is the first copy of my book. So my book name is The Inner Voice of a Tibetan Girl. The pattern and the cover of my book is really special, because it was selected by my spiritual brother. He's a very close person to me, and it has a lot of meaning. I probably not sure how to describe all the colors, but with these steps, this is the footprint. So on the top of this cover, I requested to put this one, even though it looks very variant color, different color. It looks like very attractive. At the same time, it's like, is this a book which everybody wants to read, you know? But yes, so this is a very important one which I chose to put it on, because I believe in our life we face a lot of struggles. We face different phases where sometimes we just give up moving forward, but these footsteps always reminds me that no matter what happened, keep going instead of just backwarding. Just keep forward, one step at a time. No matter how big your goal is or how big your dream is, try to take one step at a time instead of jumping forward. Just take one step at a time. So this is the symbol which I believe, and I requested to put this in front, even though it looks really colorful. But this is actually my first print. This is my first ever print book. Yeah, so okay, so going back to my book collection, I started writing when I was grade 2. I've always wanted to do something which I can carry in my life, which like imprint in my life, also encourage to people. Even though I was very little when I was in grade 2, I've always wanted to do something so that I can inspire others, as well as inspire to myself to follow my dreams. Okay, so when I was in grade 2, I had the best English teacher. I think she's still there, and I completed my school in Tibetan homeschool Missouri. I'm really, really proud and privileged to say that I belong to that country. I mean, I belong to that school. It's that place was the life changing. That place was the was my first home in refugee. So yeah, so I had a really, really good teacher. And the reason behind I started writing my book, of course, initially it wasn't a book, it was just a collection of few pages. So when I was in school, I was really, really introvert. I don't really like to talk to people. I don't really like to share my feelings with others, because every time I share my feelings, it makes me feel like it's meaningless, because everyone goes through lots of struggles and everyone misses their families, their parents, and they wanted to go back to Tibet and live their life with their family. So it was always really, really difficult to share and raise my voice and express my feeling. So I always write them down. For example, if I'm really happy today, I would just write them how happy I am, and the feeling of happiness, I always express that into a word on a page, and then I collect all those pages. And sometimes I would just request my English teacher to correct them, and then she would give it back to me with like whole, red pens on it. But I always really appreciate for all my English teachers' support. Because of their support and their encouragement, I was able to do all of it. So yeah, so the reason behind this book is I was introvert, so I never share anything to anybody. So I always put everything down. Yeah, and so from year 2 to year 12, I started collecting all my poems, proses, and essays. And I always participate in school magazine annually and mid-year and all. I always participate. I always write something and then submit it for annual magazine. And then after year 12, even back in school, there was a phase where I requested our school to help me to publish this, but there was one teacher who told me that your English is very basic. Even if we help you to publish this, we need someone to spend time on your writing, to correct it, and then we need someone to type it. We need someone to focus, particularly on your book instead of focusing on someone else. So it's a long process and long journey. So instead of publishing now, you might probably want to go through it. You might probably want to read more, correct it, and then maybe in the future we might be able to help you. So it was a big rejection. It was not the first time. So a couple of times they rejected me to publish my book, because initially the school support was only my hope, because there was no family members who could support. There was no one who could financially help me to publish or do it. So I requested them if they could just help me to print like a magazine, because I was in year 11 or 12 that time, and I said, well, I really wanted to leave a good mark and good example to my fellow students, because there are many students like me who has a lot of collections, but they are unable to share that with other people. So probably if I do this, that was my first step. That was my first step that I moved forward and request someone to help me on my behalf. But then, yeah, a couple of times I was rejected, and I lost my hope at that time. And I thought, well, it's okay. I'll probably do it in the future. I'll do it by myself. I'll just figure it out. But I'm going to print it out. I'm going to publish my book someday. So that was my goal. And one thing, it was very disappointing that they rejected me a couple of times, but another way around, I think that was a good opportunity for me that they rejected. If they haven't rejected, I would have been I wouldn't be putting more effort towards my book publishing, I would probably stop writing, and then I would probably just my memory would be on a magazine that student could read and to say, oh, this is from one of our schoolmates, senior students, Samdub. But I'm glad that it happened, and it turned out to be a bigger version of my book. Okay, so after year 12, yeah, it's actually a really huge, like long story, but I'll try to make it in short. So after year 12, I first time getting out of a school, seeing society, we had no idea. I'm sure that all the students after year 12, they're like fully surprised when they walk into the society and see the real world. That was absolutely same with me. I went through a lot, and then after year 12, I was selected into one of the top university in India, but unfortunately they withdraw my application by saying that there is someone who has 1 point higher than you, so they had to withdraw me at the end of my well, it was very close to the opening of the college that time, but then they were like, hey, you just need to come back, and then they called me all of a sudden. They were like, hey, you need to come back and withdraw your application because there is someone who got higher mark than you. And then I said, well, I need an evidence because I'm getting scholarship from my school, and I also need to provide them the evidence. And they were like, well, I'm sorry, we can't reveal the personal details and all. So this is the decision from the dean member, and then you have to come and collect your stuff. And I was like so surprised. I was shocked. I was unable to do anything. I was not unable to talk to my family, my mom. I was like, it would be a lot to handle, because you know, when you belong to a very very normal family where you don't have financial support and all, and even we were unable to afford for a lot of things. So I was like, well, if I lose my scholarship, I would probably need to give up my study. And then I didn't say anything to my mom. I just went to Delhi, like it's 12 hours bus overnight, and then I went back, and there were a few senior Tibetan student, they helped me, and then I withdrew from them. And I had to take a year gap. I was like completely lost, and fortunately I met very, very, very good people who supported me, who pushed me forward. And then my mom was always there to support me. She would always be there, but she would trust me, and she would always support whatever decision I make. So she was always there physically and mentally, but problem was we were unable to afford for my study and like daily living. So it was so hard. It was such a difficult moment where we had no choice. So I thought, well, I have to give up my studies and do some job to support our daily living. But fortunately, with those great people, they helped me a lot. They pushed me, and then that was my the first person who supported me was my yoga teacher, late Venerable Lobsang Thönden. Like, he was my first guru and my best friend. And then he was really amazed by my writing, because I always write something, and then when I go to yoga classes, I always have good chat with him, because he's such a generous, such a kind person. Well, he's the best. That's all I could say. So he always supported me, and I said, well, I have more collection. He was like, oh, I really love to read it. And then I have like 3 notebooks, and he read it, and he was like, why don't you publish it? And I was like, oh, I always wanted to do that, but look, I just lost my scholarship. I just withdrew from my school, my university, my college. I didn't withdraw, actually. It was that they replaced me, because I didn't have anyone to support me. I didn't have family members when I went for admission. I didn't have money to bribe them. So it was such a heartbreaking, and the fact that I have been through. At that time, I contacted to all the related department or whoever supports to those kind of situation. Nobody could help me at that time. So it was really, really disappointing. At the same time, I lost my scholarship. So yeah, and he knows everything. He knew everything that time, and he said, "Oh, that's okay. You just need to show to the world that what you can do, and you need to be facing to the world. You need to face the world, and you need to tell them who you are and what you can do. Even if the university they withdraw you, even if you have lost your scholarship, you haven't lost your life yet. You still have the hope." So that's what he taught me. And then we went to buy a laptop. He supported me to buy a laptop. At the same time, I met my spiritual brother. My spiritual brother was his best friend, so he introduced me, and then with the help of them, I was able to purchase a laptop. And then with that laptop, I took a year gap because there is nothing else I could do. Well, we tried different places. We went to like different institution where I could learn something instead of wasting the year, and instead of going into emotional state and mental state. I tried everything, but out of nowhere there was no seat for anybody because that was the end of the admission. So yeah, and then I started typing everything. It took me quite a long, but I didn't give up. And then my spiritual brother, he requested someone to edit, but then I said, oh, I don't want that to be edited very fluently because this is who I am. This is I have started writing when I was in grade 2, so this is like the original authentic me. So I don't want anybody to correct my English. I just want to publish the way it is. And then one of his students, she helped me to like edit like roughly. But if you have ever read my book, there are plenty of mistakes in it. But my focus wasn't into a perfect English. My focus was I wanted this book to remain as a little young Sam, like Sam Dup. This is very authentic, like really authentic. How would a 5-year-old or 6-year-old would express? That would be really real, no filtration, no artificial. It's just so real, right? So I always wanted to keep my book really real. So I said, oh, well, I don't want to edit that professionally. I just want to publish as it is. So that's why you would see lots of grammatical mistakes, lots of spelling errors, but I never thought of changing them because this is who I was. This is who I was and how I went through when I was a kid. So yeah. So it was published in Italy from publisher Padma Mati, publisher from Italy, that was supported by my spiritual brother. So it was all with the help of lots of other positive and supportive people. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to do this all. So I'm really grateful to all those people. So yeah, and after that, with the help of this book, I received order from seven or eight different countries, and then I posted them. And then I raised some fund with this book, and then after a year I was able to continue my study. I was able to go back to uni and I studied psychology there. So yes, this book is really special. And then before coming to Australia, we changed the book cover into this, but unfortunately these books are not available on Amazon or online. So if I received lots of messages and DMs saying that, oh, where can we find your book, but unfortunately it's not in the Amazon or anywhere. So this is all about my book. It's not really depth, but yeah, so this is really like this is me when I was a kid, and this was my feeling when I was in the boarding school, when I was away with my parents, my families, where there were no one except our foster parents and the blessed of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. So yes, that's it. So this is all. This was my first book, and hopefully in the future I would have another book. Anyways, thank you so much guys, and the video is quite long for today, but Really sorry for that, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Never ever give up your dreams, no matter how big or how small it is, and always take one step at a time instead of jumping forward and giving up. So if you take a step at a time, you will never ever fall. Even if you fall, you would be able to stand up, because your stability and consistent will always help you. All right, everybody, stay safe, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.